Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the Record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Monday, the 17th day of February 2020. I hope and I trust that everyone had an enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, again, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road, whether you're a pedestrian, cyclist, operating any type of vehicle on the roads of the Cayman Islands. Always remember that the life you save may be your own. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I have the pleasure of being your host. My name is Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Our phone lines are always open. There is always someone there waiting to take your calls. Again, this morning, it is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. If you don't like to talk on the telephone, then email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us on 925-3261, where we encourage you to send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Before I introduce one of my guests this morning, for those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. If you've celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday as well. Those of you who have lost loved ones during the past few days, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you, and we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times. And of course, we want to give a big shout out again to our colleague here at Radio Cayman, DJ Lynn, while he's recovering. We want to wish him a speedy recovery and Godspeed as well. This morning, we have a representative from the Cayman National Cultural Foundation here with us. We expect to have some more guests as well, but we are now graced with the pleasure of having Miss Virginia Foster, who is the Education Officer and also the Secretary of the Awards Committee at the Cayman National Cultural Foundation. Ms. Foster, good morning, and I should say welcome to For the Record. I believe this is your first time on here. Welcome to you.
Good morning. I'm thrilled to see you in person. I listen to you almost every time, but it's my pleasure to be here.
Oh, that's very, very good to know. I'd like you to bring that mic a little closer to you, please. Just the whole thing can move to a little closer, yeah. Okay. For the benefit of our listening and viewing audience, give us a little background on the Cayman National Cultural Foundation.
Well, we're a non-profit. We have the umbrella law to cover all the different art disciplines. Of course, being the curators for the Harquail Theatre, we specialize in the performing arts. I'm here this morning to alert the public to the fact that we're having our 56th annual Arts and Culture Awards this coming Thursday, 20th of February. It's by invitation only, but we are here this morning to announce the winners. We say winners, but all those who are nominated either by the public or by our sister organizations are winners. And every year we take great pride in those who receive the awards. Same this year. We have a lovely group of, I would say, artisans, artists, musicians. So we're well represented.
Okay. Can we hear about the criteria that is used for selecting these awardees, whether or not it is done by a committee of voting, whether or not there's any public input into it, peer input as well?
Well, it's quite I would say, a time-consuming and very well thought-out process.
Okay.
Every year, we have the opening of the nomination period, which this year will happen immediately after Thursday's celebration. So the public does not have to wait until closer to the time. They can start from now to think about those who they wish to recognize. We have two different categories. We have the Heritage Cross, and that is mostly for the preservation of Caymanians' heritage and ever-changing culture. And then we have the Star for Creativity, which is given to those who are of an artistic bent, any of the disciplines within the arts. Now, we have a standardized nomination form, which can be downloaded from our website, www.arts, with an S, A-R-T-S, Cayman, one word, .org, artscayman.org. And the public is invited to think of those within their communities who have served with great excellence in either in their particular community or in the Cayman Islands as a whole, and they can nominate for the Heritage Cross, which has three different levels. We have the Bronze, which is for 5 or less years, or even one significant outstanding achievement. We have the Silver level, which is for 10 years. And then, of course, we have the Gold, which honors a lifetime of 20 or more years of service to the people of the Cayman Islands. And then we have those same 3 levels for the Star for Creativity. The Star for Creativity can be open to the public. It used to be that it was only through our sister organizations. But it is now open to the public. However, if it is a new name, then that person will have to get some sister organization to look at the work, and then to refer them to us. So we have the same Bronze, Silver, and Gold levels.
Now, Can a person qualify posthumously as well as being
Definitely. We've
current?
given those. In fact, last year I think it was that we gave Melvin Augustine posthumously, and also an artist can nominate himself or herself again with the backing or their credibility has to be established. Well established, usually by having a sister organization check on their bios.
Okay.
And then I
Sure.
should mention that these nominations come in to us throughout the year, and we do have an awards committee who sits down and really takes the time to examine every detail. If the nominee is of some genre or category that we're not too familiar with, we may invite somebody with that background to come in and comment on the nomination. On the nomination form, there is a space for 2 other referrals other than the nominator. And now we ask for a bio, about 500 words or so.
Okay.
And that also could be supplemented with samples of the work, either on video or actual hard copies or photos. And it's really an honor for somebody to be nominated and then for that nomination to be successful.
It must be quite an honor. Don't want to put you on the spot, but can you give us some names of previous awardees?
Well, everybody knows some of the big names, I am the docent for Mind's Eye, so at the top of my list is Miss Lassie. Julia Bendel Hides, Frank McField, Dave Martins, Herbie Martins, and then of course we have been very careful to spread this honor to the sister islands. We have quite a number of Cayman Brackers. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten anything from Little Cayman yet, but we did have Mr. Billy Bodden, who died last year, sadly.
Yes.
And he was born in Little Cayman, so we're counting him as a Little Caymanian.
Yes. He'll probably regard himself as that as well, I'm sure. Yes. Okay, Miss Susan, we're going to take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. When we return, we will continue our conversation with Miss Virginia Foster, who's the Education Officer and Secretary of the Cayman Islands National Cultural Foundation. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
2020 means perfect vision. And if you have your sights set on driving a new hybrid, then the time is now to check out the new RAV4 and CHR. Hold up. Just 2 of the many hybrid models that Vamped is bringing to Cayman. Whether you're looking for a smoother and quieter way of driving or want a car that maximizes fuel efficiency while minimizing emissions, there are lots of ways a new hybrid from Vamped can make the difference in your life. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries without being plugged in. So focus your 2020 vision on a new hybrid from Vamped Motors, and we will see you through. Come to Vamped, home of the hybrid, located on Walkers Road.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas. Through several accounts, the first blacks to make Cayman home were runaway slaves from Cuba called Barba and Mateo, and they settled at Watering Place on the island's northern shore. The former is also commemorated in the name of Barber's Well. This well was said to be very deep and have no bottom. Barba and Mateo are said to have been adopted by Robert Scott and one of the Riches, changing their names to Ben Scott and Thomas Matthias Rich, and later were known as Old Daddy Ben and Old Dick, although legend also has it that when the first whites came to Cayman Brac, they found a slave already living on the island who had run away from Grand Cayman.
Information from this historical vignette was sourced from Founded Upon the Seas, A History of the Cayman Islands and Their People by Mitchell Creighton and the New History Committee.
Radio Cayman's historical facts vignettes are proudly brought to you by Cayman National, with branches on all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
I remember playing at 7 Mile Beach as a boy, eating mango by the sea, learning how to snorkel. My mother, she worked so hard to provide for our family so that we could have those moments. Seeing her age has been tough. A strong, capable woman, now in need of daily support, it's my time to be strong for her.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of the careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes, Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore,
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Miss Virginia Foster, who is the education officer and also the secretary of the awards committee for the Cayman Islands National Cultural Foundation. We have a caller, so let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor. How are you today?
Good morning, sir. I'm fine. How are you?
And I'm fine when I hear that beautiful young lady there next to you talking. And I want to tell her good morning, and I want to ask her, I heard some of the requirements, but I want to ask her where do we pick up the application forms from, and she should know who this is.
I certainly do know who it is. Good morning. Thanks for the welcome. You can either download that nomination form from our website, www.artscayman, ARTS, one word, artscayman.org, or you can come to the office, the second floor of the building immediately behind the Hartwell Theater, and we could let you have a hard copy.
Well, you know, that's me because I'm old-fashioned and I can't handle no computers. But I know you can. So I will pass there today if you're going to be down there.
I'll certainly be there, yes.
Until 12, right?
No, I'm there till 1:30 today. Okay. But you can drop in at any time. Somebody will be there to assist you.
Thank you very much, and you have a wonderful day, and keep up the good job that you're doing. And I hope that next year you can retire and enjoy some of your money.
No comment.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much for that. That may be some useful information to put out there as well. Not how much money you have, but in terms of the location of your offices and everything. You did mention it earlier, but it would be good to re-emphasize that as well. Yes. Go right ahead.
So is this the
location, office location?
Oh, the location.
Yes,
Okay. So we're on the second floor, the top floor. You'll see the signage of the building immediately behind the Harquail Theatre on the very same property. And just come up, knock. If you don't, if the door isn't open, there's a bell. And come right in, and whoever is there will be able to hand you a hard copy of the nomination form.
Okay.
And the nomination period now for 2020 begins the day after Thursday, the award ceremony. So that would be Friday of this week.
Okay. And there may be some challenges negotiating the area now as a result of the road redesign down there. But
yes. But it's rather simple if you're coming on the highway going towards Cayman Bay.
Right.
You can take your left turn into the gallery, the National Gallery.
Yes.
And on your right will be a feeder road coming straight into our property.
Okay. That's the easiest way.
Yes.
And if you're coming from, say, Lawrence Boulevard direction?
Then you have to come around all the way down towards Cayman Bay and take the roundabout and come right. It's almost as you take that roundabout, you'll see the entrance sign for the Cultural Foundation.
Okay, we have about 5 minutes before we go to our 8 o'clock news, and of course we're going to have you back after the 8 o'clock news as well. But again, for the benefit of our listening audience, let's go back over the criteria, the nominees for the 56th Annual Awards.
I think I want to leave that for after the news to mention who actually our awardees.
So we can talk about the process.
But I can tell you that this Annual Arts and Culture Awards is the first of 3 events that comprise K-Fest.
Okay.
Yes, this one, of course, is by invitation only. But
so
then
if you haven't gotten an invitation already, don't expect to get one.
Well, it could be that the invitation, 1 or 2 invitations, is still sitting on my desk. We're so late this year.
And the date again?
The 20th.
Well? 20th of
Thursday
February.
the 20th. Yes. The cocktail begins at 7, the cocktail hour, and then the actual ceremony begins at 8. Red carpet. Yes, these are our heroes.
Yes.
I'm praying for the day when all our awardees, past, present, and future, become household names. Everybody in the Cayman Islands should be familiar with these names and these people and their contribution to the country. So, the second event for K-Fest has now been moved to next month. And that will be the Dress for Culture Day.
Okay.
And then, of course, our big event is next Saturday, the 29th. Red Sky at Night. Yes, that opens from 4 till 12 midnight. And if you get me started, I can talk a lot about my 2 areas of responsibility.
And we certainly will. We certainly will get you there.
Yes, I'm responsible for the Creative Kids area. And last year, after much prayer and hopes and dreams, we were able to introduce the Caymanian Village. So it's still relatively new. I can talk a lot about that later. Yes, the Caymanian Village. where we feature our local artisans doing live demonstrations of traditional skills.
Okay, while I have you here, and this one is probably going to be a little bit more opinionated, but what do we say? How do we address the concerns that some people have about culture in the Cayman Islands, and because of the fact that we're becoming such a multicultural society with so many nationalities in the Cayman Islands, those who fear that we could possibly use or lose our Cayman culture?
They have to come to Red Sky. We have over 135 nationalities in the Cayman Islands, and we try to highlight all or most of them, whoever wishes to participate. We actually open Red Sky with the Parade of Nations. So we've had some large groups coming from one or two nationalities, but we've made a special effort this year to invite all nationalities to send in national dress to that, and they can contact Kelly Holding because they're the ones that are spearheading all the and taking care of all the logistics. But if they want to see traditional Caymanian heritage, then they come to the Caymanian village, which is on the same property. Yes, right there.
And anything else you can share about the Caymanian village?
I can share a lot. I'm just watching your clock.
we have about 2 minutes left, 3 minutes there.
Yes, well, we have quite a lineup. Last year, unfortunately, we got rained out the first date for Red Sky, and then by the time we rescheduled, I think it might have been like later, some of those artisans had already had prior commitments. So this year, God help us, we will go with the 29th, and I have quite an impressive lineup of artisans, and I would like to publicly announce that we do have food on sale in the Caymanian village.
Wouldn't be Caymanian if food was involved.
but we only have 2 selected culinary artists in the village. I'm hoping every year we will feature 2, because we do have the food court outside. But we can't have a Caymanian village without caboose. So I have twisted Alvin McLaughlin's arm because he's the first person to sell out on the food court.
Wow.
And he's coming to do his caboose cooking. And then we have Miss Elaine. She's going to be doing the cassava cake and all the... So we have a savory and a sweet going on in there.
Okay, that's a good point for us to take the break for our 8 o'clock news, talking about food, and we have more scintillating things to talk about when we return after the 8 o'clock news. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 7:59.
Ahoy, seafood lovers! Did you know that the fresh fish fillets sold at Foster's are brought in jet fresh twice a week? Fishermen bring their fresh catch to our suppliers at 3 a.m. in Miami. The fish are then cleaned, filleted, and shipped to the airport by 6 a.m. The shipment arrives in Cayman and is in the stores by 1 p.m. And when we're able to buy local, it's even fresher. Get the best in fresh seafood at any Foster's supermarket location. Foster's, better seafood because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, with 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and an Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy. Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walker's Road or Town. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. What's considered one of the funniest farces ever written is coming to Cayman's Prospect Playhouse, and the team at the Cayman Drama Society is holding auditions later this month.
God said, let there be doors that open when they open and close when they close.
Do something?
Doors.
I was getting the bananas for the sardines.
Doors.
Doors.
I bet God had a stage manager who understood English.
Michael Frayn's Noises Off, a scene of which you just heard, presents a manic menagerie of actors rehearsing a flop called Nothing's On. Doors slamming, on and off stage intrigue, and an errant herring all figure in the plot of this hilarious and classic comic play. Auditions will be held on Saturday, February 29th at 10 a.m. The production runs the end of May through mid-June. Head to cds.ky for the audition packet and more information. The internationally acclaimed Grouper Moon Research Project moves to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Radio Cayman's April Cummings has more.
The internationally acclaimed Grouper Moon Research Project moved to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman this week. The annual project partners with the Department of Environment and the Reef Environmental Education Foundation. Now, during the first months of the year, teams survey populations of critically endangered Nassau grouper in Cayman Islands waters. Based on its research, the International Union for Conservation of Nature believes the Nassau grouper population has declined globally by more than 80% since 1980. The critically endangered designation indicates the species is facing an extremely high risk of extinction in the wild.
April Cummings reporting. In regional news, the Pan American Health Organization says dengue cases are on the rise in the Americas and the Caribbean, with more than 3 million cases reported in 2019. According to the PAHO's latest epidemiological update, last year represented the largest number recorded in the region. On Wednesday, PAHO said the figures exceeded the 2.4 million cases reported in 2015 during the previous largest dengue epidemic in the history of the region. That year, almost 1,400 people died of dengue. The director of PAHO's Department of Communicable Diseases and Environmental Determinants of Health said despite the increase in the number of cases in 2019, thanks to intense efforts from the countries, the case fatality rate, or the percentage of cases of dengue that progress to death, has been kept below the expected 1%. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. There are reports from Burkina Faso that at least 24 people have been killed during an attack on a church in the north of the country near the border with Niger. Officials say at least 18 people were also injured when suspected jihadists attacked the village of Poncy during the Sunday service. China says next month's annual parliament session may be postponed as the country battles to control the outbreak of the new coronavirus. More than 70,000 people in China have been infected by the virus and nearly 1,800 have died. Robbers armed with knives in Hong Kong have attacked a delivery driver and stolen hundreds of rolls of toilet paper. The rolls, along with many other essential items, are currently in short supply in Hong Kong due to panic buying prompted by the coronavirus outbreak. India's Supreme Court has ruled that women in the armed forces can get permanent commissions, allowing them to be in commanding roles. The landmark ruling means that all women officers will be on a par with men when it comes to promotion, rank, benefits and pensions. The Taliban has confirmed that negotiations with the United States have concluded and an agreement to end 18 years of conflict in Afghanistan has been finalised. The agreement will start with a 7-day partial truce. A Spanish actor, Willy Toledo, is going on trial in Madrid for insulting God in a case that has revived calls for the abolition of blasphemy laws. An association of Christian lawyers accuses him of offending religious sentiments in several of his Facebook posts. Police in Rwanda say a Rwandan singer who was arrested last week whilst trying to leave the country illegally has taken his own life in custody. Kizito Mihigo was accused of fleeing the country to join a rebel group in neighbouring Burundi. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, with 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and an Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy. Value Med Pharmacy is your community care partner for health and wellness needs. We offer convenient prescription processing at the counter and online at value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com, with pickup available at the Walkers Road or Boddentown location. We also accept transfer prescriptions from other pharmacies. More than just a pharmacy, shop Value Med for personal care and beauty products from trusted brands, perfume and gift sets, Hallmark and greeting cards, baby clothes, footwear, handbags, swimwear, home decor, toys, school supplies, and stationery. And home convalescence aids like wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, canes, and hospital beds. With 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and in Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Rotary Club Central, in association with the Cayman Islands Health Services Authority, HSA, present Health Check 2020. Free health check, free mini medical consultation, diabetes, hypertension, and much, much more. Saturday, March 7, 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. Nurses, doctors, Rotarians in service to you. The Rotary Health Check 2020 at A.L. Thompson's, Foster's Airport and Countryside, Foster's Republics, and Kamana Bay. Costs you less. And Hurley's Supermarket. You may save your life. Rotary Central Health Check 2020. Your life, your health. Rotary, connecting the world.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
For the health of it, Radio Cayman's premier health show is brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association, Holy Cross Hospital,
Cayman Fertility Center,
and EatingClean.com.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
So far, more than 175 Cayman parrot owners have registered their birds with the Department of Environment.
That's good, but we know it's not all of them.
You have until February 29th to sign up to register your parrot.
Unregistered Cayman parrots found in captivity after that will be considered illegal.
Remember, registration allows you to legally keep your bird. We don't want to take away anyone's pet.
So do what's right.
Register your Cayman parrot and help us protect our national bird.
For more information, contact the Department of Environment.
A pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Synopsis indicate moderate northeasterly winds and seas will continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours as a high-pressure system lingers over the central Atlantic Ocean. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving west. Now the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures will be in the mid-80s. Your winds will be northeast at 10 to 15 knots and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. And the forecast for tonight calling for pretty much the same partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of late night showers and temperatures dipping to the mid-70s tonight. Your winds will be northeast at 10 to 15 knots and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Low tide will be this afternoon at 12:41 and a high tide this evening at 6. The sun will set this evening at 6:25 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:53. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Wednesday morning.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
And that familiar theme tells us once again it's time to take a look what's happening on our roads. Traffic coming off of Bobby Thompson Way is moving on moderately, steady traffic. In some sections of Crew Road, other sections of Crew Road busy. And heavy traffic coming from the east on Shamrock Road and the Linford Pearson Highway. Slight delays expected as you head on down to Georgetown. Looking towards West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is flowing moderately in both directions. And in and out of Georgetown on Shedden Road, things looking pretty good as a good traffic flow. And on Edward Street, traffic flowing nicely. Coming from the West Bay 4-way stop, light to moderate traffic flow. And on Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, traffic is moderate. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll give you another traffic outlook. Have a good morning and click it or ticket.
You know what goes perfect with tuna? Bacon. That's why Subway's adding bacon to our delicious tuna sandwich. It's the Tuna BLT. At just 540 calories for a 6-inch, you'll love this mouth-watering combination of flavors. Subway's tasty tuna sandwich is simply sumptuous on its own, but add bacon and it's out of this world delicious. After all, bacon and tuna are perfect together. Stop by any of Subway's 7 locations today and get the Tuna BLT. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Get ready, gamers, for 6 weeks of non-stop competitive action. The Cayman Islands Esports Association is proud to announce the first ever FIFA E-League. Starting February 1st. Compete for the gold on FIFA 20 for the PS4 every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Bodden Town Civic Center. Sign up today at CaymanEsports.org. Competitor fee is just $75 and includes your own jersey and swag bag. Spectators are free, so come out and enjoy the world of esports. Proudly sponsored by Gamers Bay, NetGeeks Media, CUC, Kimpton Seafire, and the Cayman Islands Youth Services Unit.
The FIFA E-League is also sponsored by Radio Cayman.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, we have Miss Virginia Foster, who's the Education Officer as well as the Secretary to the Awards Committee for the Cayman Islands National Cultural Foundation. And we're talking about the annual Arts and Cultural Awards. I think at one point in time I said 56, but it's 26, right? Is it?
26.
26, yeah.
Yes.
I believe I said 56. I don't know why, but it is 26. We had a question in relation to, in the event of inclement weather, what happens, because sometimes with these outdoor events, people make preparations, food vendors, things of that nature, and
well, the good news or the bad news?
We'll take the good news first.
The good news is that if we get rained out as we did last time, then we'll have to move it to Sunday. Because the bad news is if we move it any further along, it costs the Cayman National Cultural Foundation an arm and a leg, which we don't have in our budget. So hopefully all will be well on Saturday, if not Sunday, the same time, the same place.
Okay, we may have some benefactors, potential benefactors listening on here. So let's talk a little bit, since you mentioned funding, the funding that you received. Do you receive any funding from government, and where do you raise the rest of your operating revenues from?
Well, we have a very tight budget from the government. Unfortunately, there are so many other priorities ahead of arts and culture. However, we do manage to work with a little skeleton staff. And then we raise the rest from the rental of the theaters. We have 2 theaters, the Harquail and the Studio, and we do have performances throughout the year. We have this big K-Fest. We have Gimme Story, International Storytelling. And we have some very generous sponsors every year, thank God. Not enough, but enough to keep us afloat. That's it.
I always wondered about Rundown is always so popular, but why do we have the limited performances? Because Caribbean people in general, Caymanians in particular, always wait till the last minute to do things. So, the show will run, and then when it's announced, we'll have 2 shows left, that you'll get a deluge of requests for tickets, and people want to attend. Why don't we run it longer?
Well, I'm speaking for myself. I'm not representing the official word.
Understood.
But as I understand it, we have tried in, over a long period of time to have a cadre of art actors. We have to rely on these volunteers for Rundown. They get a very small little honorarium. But in order to maintain that, you really need to have committed, not that these people who do it every year aren't committed, but you need to have committed resources for them to perform on a much longer schedule. And then while we're on the subject of funding, I was listening to a call-in talk show the other day, and somebody was saying, we should have something cultural every month. And I'm thinking, where does the appreciation of the need for funding come in? Everything we do from the Cultural Foundation has to be scaled down if the budget is scaled down. And everything that is done in the name of arts and culture is usually very expensive. We don't really usually make a profit for some of these events. So let's go for it. But then, the community will have to support it.
Yes, certainly. Okay, we're going to switch gears and talk about some of the recipients of the awards.
Oh, yes, and I forgot during the break to arrange with Susan for the drum roll. And I'm going to switch things around and start with Cayman Brac.
Okay.
Yes, our sister organization. So we have 3 awardees from the sister islands today. We have Conroy Ebanks, who gets the Star for Creativity Gold. And those who are not familiar with his art will have to come sometime during Red Sky in the alcoves. We have 4 alcoves. And we will have 4 exhibits in those alcoves. And Conroy's art will be there.
Okay.
Fantastic talent. Then we have Ann Walton with the Heritage Cross Gold. She is culinary. She's the person on the caboose. She's the person who goes into the schools to show them how to bake on a caboose. And I was giggling one time. They sent a photo of her showing some students how to do the what we call fried. What's it called now? It's a little bread. It's a little biscuit type thing, right? I'm ashamed of myself.
Fritters?
Yeah, I think something. But it wasn't fried. It was in the ashes.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It was in the ashes. And somebody said they were afraid that the children might not be scornful and not want to eat it. They said they ate it so fast. Anyhow, too bad she's not going to be able to stay back for Red Sky and do something on the caboose here, but maybe next time. And then we have a young man who is from the district admin, and he does tours, and he is getting the Heritage Cross Bronze. because he is the expert now on twisting rope, rosemary brooms, and all of those traditional arts that are dying out so fast. So we're very proud of him at his age to be taking these things forward. Grand Cayman, we have 4 awardees this year. We have Ray Banker, Star for Creativity Gold. Everybody knows about Ray and his artwork, but they don't know too much more about his background. Very impressive background. Then we have Deborah Barnes Tabora, who's getting the Heritage Cross Gold. I'm going to come back and say a couple of little things about these people. And then we have Jerilo Rankin, Heritage Cross Gold. And George Jones, Star for Creativity Silver. So I think I mentioned a little background about Conroy, Anne, and Philip. So let me talk and Ray. So Deborah Barnes Tabora is the collections manager at the museum. She was at Carafesta this year, along with Jerilo Rankin and myself. We manned the Caymanian booth in the village market, and she was very impressive. I observed her while we were there in Trinidad, and she was there on her feet from 11 in the morning till 6 in the evening, and she spoke one-to-one with anybody who wanted to know more about the Cayman Islands. She didn't take a break. She was there the whole time, and devoted, committed to the Cayman Islands, knew a lot. And of course, Caribbean Airlines was about to start flights, so everybody in Trinidad was coming. So they wanted to know as much as they could get.
Should have taken some work permit applications with you.
And then Mr. Jerilo from East End, he was the ambassador of ambassadors. Stole the show. He had people lined up, waiting and waiting because they wanted to learn how to do netting. The first person who sat down with him was a young girl. And before she left, she knew the basics.
Wow.
And then he had, in one day, one sitting there, he did a whole hammock. He did a whole fishing net. And then he started making bracelets that he gave away.
Wow.
So people stood there. They either chatted with Deborah. The exhibit was fantastic to begin with. And then they wanted their little bracelet. In the meantime, I was on the side telling stories. But so Jerilo is a treasure. George Jones. George is getting the Star for Creativity Silver. Although he came with a great reputation and many awards from his homeland, he's also been very, very active ever since he immigrated here to Cayman.
Okay.
So music for George Jones, and so that's who we have this year.
Excellent. Quite a lineup of awardees, quite a bit. And you said only invitees. How many guests have been invited? I would imagine, including family members of the awardees.
Yes, the Harquail seats about 300 people, and so all of these people are getting their invitations to give to their family and friends. And then we've gone back for the past 3 years to all our other awardees for the past 3 years. And we've invited them also. We have quite an extensive guest list. We have all the members of government, all those who are in the government admin building who are supporting arts and culture. And we have corporate sponsors. So we're hoping that, those who might not have received a formal invitation, who have been very close with us, our volunteers, will show up. Fill up all those seats. Every single seat should be filled.
Okay. And again, remind our listening and viewing audience, day and time.
This coming Thursday,
venue.
this week, the 20th, at the Harquail Theatre. The cocktail hour is from 7 to 8, and then at 8, the formal ceremony begins, where the medals will be presented, certificates, photo shoots.
By invitation only.
Yes, or by association only. If you feel you're part of our CNCF family, come along.
Okay. Excellent. Still have about 5 minutes left. Want to give you an opportunity again to promote CN and
K-Fest.
Yes, K-Fest.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about K-Fest.
Let's talk about Caymanian Village. First of all, let me quickly invite all the children from ages 3 to 12 to come by. Creative Kids is on the side lawn of the Harquail Theatre. And we do free games and free crafts. So parents, don't just hurry them by because it's something else to buy for them. No. Everything is free. And I would like to thank publicly the teens from Youth to Youth. Every year for the past, maybe 4 or 5 years, the teens have helped me to run that section of the K-Fest, Red Sky at Night. And at this point, they could probably just run it all by themselves. And they know that they're there to interact with the younger group of children, and to make safety their number one priority, and to have fun. So thank you, Youth to Youth teens, under the direction of Brenda Watson. Thank you very much. And they'll be there again this year. And then, how many minutes do I have?
2.5 minutes left.
Yes, come one, come all to the Caymanian Village. And if at all possible, get your friends together in your local garb and come out to the Parade of Nations. There are prizes for different categories to march in that parade.
Excellent. Again, for emphasis, Thursday night, 20th. The awards ceremony, the 20th.
Arts and Culture Awards.
Right.
And
cocktails.
7 to 8, and 8 is the formal program, the granting of the medals and the certificates, etc.
And those who are not familiar with getting to the Harquail now with the redesign of the roads in that area?
Well, I'm not going to encourage everybody to cut through the gallery. Come through the front. But it's very easy. The signage is there, just, come through. If you're coming from the Simboko side, you have to go all the way down to the roundabout, come right around the roundabout, and right almost as you get past, what's the name of that insurance now?
Island Heritage.
Island Heritage, almost there is the entrance into the Harquail property.
Okay, well, I want to wish you all the best. We want to again congratulate all of the awardees as well, and you've done a sterling job in explaining everything to our listening and viewing audience. I think they got it all right, and I'm sure that you're going to have a large turnout, and we hope and we trust and we pray that the weather cooperates. Yes.
And let me extend a personal invitation to you.
Okay, thank you.
Come to the awards. You should be there.
Thank you very much. Thank you, folks. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we will be talking about tourism in the Cayman Islands, and our guest will be Miss Rosa Harris, the Director of Tourism in the Cayman Islands. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, formerly known as Professional Pharmacy, would like to thank the Cayman communities for their loyal support these past 18 years. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care. Thorough background checks and follow-up consultations is only the beginning. Your safety is our concern. Our staff are respected healthcare professionals whose job requires careful and precise calculations. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, where we prepare to provide exceptional care. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we care about your health.
Cayman Arts Festival and the Cayman Islands Public Library Service proudly present Music at the Library, featuring classical music in addition to poetry and readings from local poets and writers. 2020 performances include Glenn Inanga on piano, Antonio Alvarez on cello, and Joan Garcia on violin. Thursday, February 20th, 6 p.m. at the Public Library in Georgetown. Tickets will be available at the door, 20 CI for adults and 5 CI for students.
Rotary Club Central, in association with the Cayman Islands Health Services Authority, HSA, present Health Check 2020. Free health check, free mini medical consultation, diabetes, hypertension, and much, much more. Saturday, March 7, 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. Nurses, doctors, Rotarians in service to you. The Rotary Health Check 2020 at A.L. Thompson's, Foster's Airport and Countryside, Foster's Republics, and Kamana Bay. Costs you less. And Hurley's Supermarket. You may save your life. Rotary Central Health Check 2020. Your life, your health. Rotary, connecting the world.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure now to have in the studio with me Miss Rosa Harris, who's the Director of Tourism in the Cayman Islands. Also with us, we have Miss Anik Jackman, and I'm not sure of her designation, though. I'm embarrassed for that.
Anik, would you like to tell Cayman
sure,
what you do at DOT?
Exactly, yes.
So good morning, everybody. Anik Jackman. I'm the Manager for National Promotions and Events at the Department of Tourism.
Excellent, excellent. So good morning and welcome, I can say, back to the record for Ms. Harris, and welcome to Ms. Jackman as well. Let's talk about tourism in the Cayman Islands. So important to us, one of our the pillars of our economy in the Cayman Islands, and sometimes there are challenging issues. Currently, we have them as well, but we have always been able to weather the proverbial storm as well as the real ones, and Cayman's tourism continues to be healthy as well. Let's hear from you, Ms. Harris.
Yes, so 2019, we ended the year up 8.6% for air arrivals. We've broken what would have been an internal record. We didn't really talk about it much publicly, but 500,000 was our target for stayover, and we exceeded that by 2,000, almost 3,000 plus visitors. So we're extremely happy with stayover tourism performance, and I think our partners are also doing very well. Tourism has become very attractive for Caymanian entrepreneurs, and we see the interest and we see the passion daily as we talk to our partners. So it's a very exciting time in tourism, particularly for stayover tourism.
Okay, and a little background information in relation to the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism and its main responsibilities. Ms. Jackman.
Okay. So when we look at the Department of Tourism, there are two arms very important for what we do. One side of the business is marketing. So you will have your public relations team, the team that does all of the research and data gathering to help us make very informed decisions on what we're going to do for the business. Of course, then there are the promotions and events side, which I'm a part of. And then we have the product arm of the Department of Tourism, also essential in terms of the development of our product. And that would be looking at our human resources. So right through from the schools, trying to get young people involved in tourism, understand the importance of it to our community, and get young people excited about that. Right through to the hotel inspections process, ensuring that there's quality, in the accommodations product for our guests, to training in customer service standards and understanding the Cayman Islands product. So when you look at the Department of Tourism, you're looking at these two facets working together to ensure that we have a strong quality product that we promote.
Okay, Ms. Harris, you want to add to that?
So I think that a lot of persons see the activity that happens here on island. Visitors come in, we have a busy airport, they go to the beach, they're in restaurants, but there's a lot that goes into getting visitors here. And the Cayman Islands has a North American office, so our Canadian team and U.S. team are centralized out of our New York office. And then we have also a European team that promotes in London, UK, and also continental Europe. And a region that we're growing that actually Anik is responsible for is Latin America. And we've concentrated on 3 countries initially. That's Mexico, Brazil, and Argentina. But we're looking to expand that portfolio of countries because there's a number of countries in Latin America that are of great interest to the destination, to DOT. But we have teams that do sales calls, that train travel agents, that do events, that are responsible for our advertising. We do a lot of digital promotions now. As you know, everyone's on a tablet or a cell phone, so the traditional print ads are still important, and radio is still important, and beautiful billboards and outdoors still important. But the power of digital technologies, where we've concentrated a lot of our promotional efforts globally. So we have a team of about 84 persons globally that are employed with the Department of Tourism. Approximately 55 are here in Grand Cayman. But it's a global effort in terms of being top of mind, cutting through the clutter of, the well-known destinations like Jamaica and Puerto Rico and Bahamas, and being able to bring value through tourism for our Cayman Islands people.
Okay, now what do we say to those persons who say, well, you have the restaurants, you have the hotels, they're all invested in Cayman, in the tourism product. Why is government putting so many resources behind this, and why not the private sector? What do we say to that?
I think it's about our cycle and where we are in terms of maturity. So when I joined DOT 13 and a half years ago, and Anik has been with the department a little bit longer as well in the marketing area, the destination investment for promotions by the government was predominantly the advertising dollars spent. More and more bigger brands that are here in Grand Cayman, the Ritz-Carlton, the Marriott, the Kimpton, the Westin, and even the smaller boutique properties like Caribbean Club and Palm Heights, they do their own advertising. And please forgive me if I'm just selecting a few. It's not favorites this morning. But what I will say is media has evolved in a way that it's a lot more tangible for properties to engage and be able to afford it. So you have social media advertising, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's web banners. Before the Department of Tourism spent a lot of money on very glossy, beautiful, expensive print ads and television. And whilst we still do a little bit of print and a lot of television to anchor the overall destination awareness, our properties are out there promoting on the channels that work for them. So I would say that it's an unfair statement to our partners now to say that they're not spending. They're spending where it makes sense for their business. And the government still has a duty to ensure that the country that is Cayman Islands, a warm weather destination, remains top of mind as here we are, this is where we're located. And then our partners come in to say, you can stay with me or you can stay with me. And then they battle it out in a secondary type of promotional effort.
Okay. Can we talk a little bit while we're still on this topic in terms of the trickle down? I wouldn't call it trickle down, but that's a term that's used most commonly. The trickle down effect, or the widespread effect that tourism has in terms of the Cayman Islands.
Absolutely. There's so many, whether it's allied, transport, special events, weddings. There's so many different types of industries that support the tourism industry. Persons travel on business. They may bring their children. They need babysitting services. There are many different small businesses that support tourism, and persons come for different reasons. So leisure, yes, is, I would say, in the 90 percentile of reasons for visiting. But because Cayman is so diverse and we have a very strong corporate and international business services available here, persons come to the Cayman Islands for many reasons. And it's a live, work, play. They mix all different types of agendas on their visit. And I think that's the strength in Cayman as well, is that we have great technology, excellent infrastructure, services that are of quality, which is why we've been so successful.
And if I could add to that, sure. For example, last year, as part of our mandate to support our stakeholders, we do business development training. And last year, we looked at our Airbnb host. Because that's been a growing sector. And one of the most interesting things for us is we decided it wasn't just going to be people presenting to them, but we offered an opportunity for small businesses to come in and showcase their products. So when we were done, we had a range of people who offered locally made artisanal products that they could give as gifts for, a welcome gift for their guests. We also had people that do decor services, home decor services, people that do photography, videography. And one of the attendees came up and said, and next time you do this, we need people who offer cleaning services. So it's really, when you look at it, it's a lot of other small businesses that have entered the industry to support tourism in different facets. And I feel like we're now getting more and more of a chance to talk with them and have them come in to partner and showcase what they offer, so that there's synergy across the board, and we're building the economic benefits for a lot of these small companies.
Okay. Now, Ms. Harris, you spoke earlier about our airport facilities.
Yes.
And let's talk a little bit about your airline partners. We see more and more airlines coming to the Cayman Islands. We see destinations that basically were Cayman Airways, for instance, New York. Now more airlines are wanting to have direct flights from here to New York, becoming extremely competitive, but at the same time good for the traveling public.
Absolutely. So our mantra in DOT is that airlift is our oxygen. We live on an island. We need air service. We need to be able to go places. And in crisis, this is an essential service as well. What I would say is Cayman Airways certainly has been a very critical and strategic tool for us to carve out new markets. And I would use Dallas as kind of that incubator example. When we wanted to start new service in Dallas, no major U.S. airline would even consider it. Cayman Airways, we helped Cayman Airways with a business case, and the service was started. I don't think it was even maybe 2.5 years into it that there was a challenger airline that started service on the route. Cayman Airways has since moved on, and we see significant lift out of Dallas from a U.S. carrier. So sometimes it's not all bad news. It just allows some of our business partners from various source markets to see that there is latent business that just needs to be stimulated. I want to talk about New York a little bit.
Okay.
I'd like to think that,
We're going to take a commercial
Sure.
break first,
Okay.
and then when we come back, we will definitely be talking about New York.
Okay.
Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
2020 means perfect vision. And if you have your sights set on driving a new hybrid, then the time is now to check out the new RAV4 and CHR. Hold up. Just two of the many hybrid models that Vamped is bringing to Cayman. Whether you're looking for a smoother and quieter way of driving or want a car that maximizes fuel efficiency while minimizing emissions, there are lots of ways a new hybrid from Vamped can make the difference in your life. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries without being plugged in. So focus your 2020 vision on a new hybrid from Vamped Motors, and we will see you through. Come to Vamped, home of the hybrid, located on Walkers Road.
If your business is over here, but your customers are over here, adding more yellow to your business will bring you both right here. With everyone searching yellows, print, online, and mobile app, getting your business noticed is easier than ever. Book your consultation today at findyellow.com.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're talking tourism in the Cayman Islands. That conversation is taking place with Ms. Rosa Harris, who is the director of the Department of Tourism here in the Cayman Islands. And also with us is Miss Anik Jackman as well. And before we went to the commercial break, we wanted to talk about New York.
Yes.
So great that they name it twice.
Obviously, New York is a very important market for us as a destination that has seen over the years approximately 25% of our volume originate out of that state itself. What I would say is there's been a lot of interest recently with Delta's announcement of weekly service on a Saturday, and I believe American Airlines, and then also obviously JetBlue and Cayman Airways serve the market year-round. I would like to think that I'm an aviation geek, but I'm not. But the airlines are seeing something that we aren't seeing. Yes. And I would say that the opportunity to funnel more traffic, either originating out of New York or connecting, seems to be something that the airlines have seen as a true opportunity. Where we'd like to balance things would be the utilization of the airport. So we brought up this topic, as I mentioned, Owen Roberts International Airport. We'd like to see a fuller utilization of the time with flights coming in, so there isn't such a pressurized point between 11 and 2 or 3 p.m. on heavy travel days, particularly Saturdays and Sundays. So if we're able to win new air service, we also share with airlines that we'd like it to be outside of that pressure point time so that the airport can either welcome morning flights. I think there's some airlines that call in before even 12 o'clock. There's early flights on JetBlue that come in, and then there's some afternoon flights on other airlines that arrive after 2 p.m. that is the situation that we're in now, is that we've pretty much maxed out our weekend arrival and departure, and we need to diversify our markets. I mentioned that Anik is a part of she drives the Latin American strategy. We were actually recently in Panama just speaking with some business partners there, and because the seasons are opposite to North America, and North America is 85% of that volume, the 502,000 that we welcomed in 2019, it's important to reduce the reliance on the United States. Yes. So I don't know, you want to talk a little bit about Latin America?
Sure. So in 2016, we were looking at how we could diversify our markets, to Rosa's point. And Latin America is one of those markets that we've had a lot of interest in. We were in it previously, and then we came out after a while. So we looked at the reinvestment and also in terms of the strategy where we were going to be. So, when we look at the Latin American market, we know that sometimes there's some volatility in whether it's their economies or politics. And we wanted to identify not just the countries that there would be some level of stability, but where there is a pocket that would travel regardless of what's happening in that particular country. So that's where we landed on Argentina, Brazil, and also we added Mexico into the portfolio. And we're very happy so far with the results from that. And we see further potential. Interesting to see, the groups that are coming out from that region. So, for example, coming out of Brazil, we have our divers. So we look at, where our promotions would land and the campaigns for those particular markets so that they can come in specific time periods throughout the year to help flatten our seasonality.
Okay, and those countries don't fall under any type of a visa regime, so it makes travel to the Cayman Islands much easier as well.
It does.
Yeah, we particularly have to look at countries that we believe we can stimulate that don't have a visa requirement for the Cayman Islands. There are a few on our short list that we believe are real opportunities but do have visa requirements. But there are a few that we identified recently, such as Uruguay, Peru, and Chile, that could be additions to the market. We're just working on how we add them to the portfolio in a cost-effective way, and which market would be best to onboard first for Latin America. Market diversification, we hired a new representative, regional manager in our London office, Mr. Adrian White, in June of last year. And he has been charged with continuing our European strategy. And we've focused mainly on the German market. So London, Ireland are the top markets, and then followed by Germany, France, and Italy. But the German market has a very stable economy. And again, it's education and awareness. So being able to train travel agents, look at the connectivity through either London, Heathrow, or mainland USA, where Cayman Airways serves, to funnel persons to the Cayman Islands. So we're looking at all markets. Obviously, all of the Caribbean countries have talked about China, but with the recent health epidemic, that's now on ice. So we'll put that out there that China's on ice right now. We won't be pursuing that anytime soon.
Okay, speaking of the peak hours, the peak time at Owen Roberts International Airport. Now, one of the reasons that has always been given to that has to do with connectivity. Is that still, an issue? Because I believe more and more you hear anecdotal evidence of people wanting to avoid, say, Miami, because it can be so hectic. So is connectivity still a factor in terms of everyone wanting to come in and leave at the same time for those connecting flights?
Connectivity is one, and days of travel is another. So persons either start their weekend early, so you find that a Thursday or Friday are very attractive, and then The weekend, obviously, if someone's coming on a 7-day rotation, they'll do like a Saturday to Saturday or Sunday to Sunday rotation. And then the Thursday to Sunday or Monday is a long weekend. What I found is that travelers are very smart. They are driven by loyalty. And a lot of the time, the airlines feed that. So Miami has always been a traditional hub for connectivity, but right behind that for American is Charlotte. So you see a lot of flights going through Charlotte. Miami is a lot more experienced with international travelers, and I think Anik and I can speak to the experiences going through airports. But I think as our gateways expand, so there's still service through Chicago. Obviously, Cayman Airways has the Denver flight. Being able to bridge persons outside of those traditional points of Miami and Charlotte, because American is such a heavy provider for Cayman. They drive a lot of our volume outside of our national carrier, Cayman Airways. Those are the top 2 airlines that call into Cayman. Our home, obviously, airline, and then American being, calling into Cayman. I would say that connectivity will continue to be a challenge. Persons want to get here as early as possible to get on the beach. And then depending on how far you need to go, you need to start earlier and get on your way. If you're in a shorter haul, obviously you may have options to take a later flight or choose a different airline. You may have come in on American and you go out on something else. But it will continue to be a challenge given that the visitor is driven to get to that warm weather as quickly as possible and as soon as possible. So persons want to be on the beach by lunch.
Okay, and we've seen recent articles in one of our local newspapers about the traffic situation, and we'll talk about that when we return in terms of how does that affect our tourism product. I've seen stores where it may take at least an hour, depending on what time of the day it is, to get from the airport to a person's destination. And do they really come to the Cayman Islands to want to sit in traffic for 1 hour? I want to talk a little bit about the Canadian market as well when it comes to charters in the Cayman Islands. In the 60s and 70s, the Canadian market was a huge thing. I believe we're seeing that starting to revive again. I could be right, or I could be wrong, but I'll wait for you to tell us that as well. But we still have, a little, about 2 minutes before we go to our headline news at 9 o'clock. So we can start talking about product Cayman and, our attractions, what we do best in the Cayman Islands, what we need to do, how do we address the concerns that people have about retaining that Caymanian flair, that identity, keeping it simple to a certain extent, those things that are attractive to our visitors here on the island, what they come for. And some come for various reasons. Some come to dive, some come to fish, some come to relax on the beach. So many other things that we have. So I want to talk about all of those things. Ms. Susan, you ready for me, or you want us to continue to talk a little bit more? Yeah, we can continue to talk. So
I would say we have a diversified product, and we need to think beyond 7 Mile Beach and know that we have 3 Cayman Islands to support.
Yes.
The Sister Islands has a number of activities now that makes it very attractive, whether it's hiking, rock climbing is thriving over there. In Grand Cayman, there's the Crystal Caves, which has been a phenomenal eco tour addition in the eastern districts. I think that if we continue to look at low impact kind of specialized group experiences rather than looking at how we've traditionally promoted the destination, that's something that we need to embrace. We've always had beaches. We've always had Stingray City in our ads. We have a thriving Turtle Center experience for kids, but we have so much more to offer.
Okay, and of course we've got to talk about cruise tourism as well. That's all part of the formula for the Cayman Islands. Folks, we've reached top of the hour. Headline news at 9 o'clock. When we return, we will continue to talk tourism in the Cayman Islands with Miss Rosa Harris and Miss Anik Jackman. So don't change that dial. Tourism is important to you. You benefit from it. And you may ask the question, well, how do I benefit from it? And if you listen here, we will tell you how you benefit from it. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news.
Access.
Local, regional, international, this is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
Cayman's National Museum's next speaker series will focus on Cayman's 1794 wreck of the 10 sails at 6 p.m. in the Audiovisual Theater. To RSCP, email Shanice McField at museum.ky. The event is tomorrow night. 2 planes carrying hundreds of U.S. citizens from a coronavirus-hit cruise ship have left Japan. One plane has landed at a U.S. Air Force base in California, and its passengers will be isolated at military facilities for 14 days. There were some 400 Americans on board the Diamond Princess. The ship with some 3,700 passengers and crew has been in quarantine since February 3rd. And dozens of Israeli soldiers have had their smartphones hacked by the Hamas militant group posing as women seeking attention. A spokesman said the soldiers were sent fake photos of young women and lured into downloading an app without knowing it could access their handsets. He said there was, quote, no significant breach of information before the scam was foiled. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, we have Director of Tourism, Miss Rosa Harris, and also with us, Miss Anik Jackman. One of our listeners has written in and said, please ask your guests about service to Panama. I think it's a hub for the Latin region. Mm-hmm. Okay, yes. Miss Anik?
And we agree it is quite a central hub when you look at the airline traffic for Latin America. And certainly from our perspective, it's something that we are considering as part of business development. So stay tuned.
More to come.
Yeah, what I would add is I attended the Roots Americas Aviation Conference 2 weeks ago, and I sat in a Latin America and Caribbean presentation that talked about air traffic growth. And the Americas, meaning U.S. and Canada, were about 3.2, 3.4% for air traffic growth. Europe about the same. And the 2 top markets that had almost 6% at 5.9 projection over the next 20 years was the Middle East and Latin America. Mm-hmm. So if we were to look at where we're located with such great traffic from North America, Latin America is our low-hanging fruit to pursue more markets and more promotional activity in those countries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, can we speak a little about the Canadian market?
Absolutely. So you would have seen Sunwing make its debut.
Yes.
I believe it was February 4th or 5th. And, that came about through partnership with our private sector hotel here on island, just wanting to get more visitors here in the destination. It's a pilot test just to see what the seasonality stimulation will be like. But Canada in general, we get most of our visitors out of Toronto. That's the heaviest area for visitation out of Canada. But there's so many more provinces to explore. We've looked at Vancouver because one of the Canadian airlines have expressed an interest in pursuing Vancouver direct service to Cayman, and it's just in its infancy and in discussion, but obviously the household income would be right in terms of the affluence and being able to, book a Cayman Islands vacation. So we're exploring all possibilities. We've deployed a French-speaking Canadian strategy in the last 18 months, focusing on Montreal. And I think that for us was new, but also it allowed us to, learn quite a bit about the market. And we believe that, the language itself is available here in Cayman, where French Canadians can easily transition if they want to speak with someone in French. Obviously, we don't see that as a challenge, but we've never shifted our promotional activity or a generation of our brochures in a different language. And now we have those tools. We have brochures that are in French, and we have a public relations company that helps us with engagement in Montreal particularly. So we've done various activity there. But culinary continues to be the number one reason for Canadians: warm weather and great food. So we've focused on that, and there's been a number of chefs from Canada that have participated in the Cayman Cookout and also have visited Cayman otherwise and done other types of pop-up culinary events in the destination. So Canada is definitely a region for us to get more business.
Okay. Repeat visitors, and some people may not consider themselves a visitor. After being here a few times, we have a cycling friend who comes from Canada every March.
All right.
He'll bring his bike with him and his family, and he's been doing this now, I would say, for at least 10 years. That person, I don't believe, consider himself a visitor, any longer. And developing those types of relationships with our tourists, how important is that?
Well, persons have to see their lifestyle. Using your friend as an example, he comes to cycle. He's able to have an extension of his lifestyle at home here in Cayman. He loves to be on his bike, taking in the outdoor environment. And I think Cayman has a lot to offer when it comes to activities, whether that's running, cycling, swimming, bird watching, you name it. Persons can have that extension of their lifestyle. And I like to say right down to the green juice that they like to get. They can get it right here
It is true.
in the Cayman Islands, or now vegan food.
Lots of great options.
So it's very important to connect with persons in a way that is important to them, whether that's through the experiences they have or the people that they meet, or being able to do business in a seamless way that they can also include their families. And that is what Cayman does really well.
Okay.
And if I could add to that point, we look at a lot of different strategies. And at one point, we talked about our niche markets for the Department of Tourism, whether that's dive, whether that's sports, whether that's wellness. So that, to Rosa's point, you really do have that extension of lifestyle here. So, from our perspective, it's not just the general promotions, but even breaking that down further in terms of the strategies we develop to be able to talk to our visitors so that they understand they can have all of that here.
Just a getaway for couples. So I want to say 3 years ago, we had a great campaign with Grace and Trey Byers. And, we had them featured as a couple because we had put a lot of effort into the family market and growing the summer period of, June through August, that we then looked at our numbers and saw that our average party size was 2.4, which told us that majority of those coming in were couples. So, a lot of the time we have to look at our data, and we have a great research team at Department of Tourism that go out to the airport and the cruise port and survey our guests. And they tell us, how much they're spending, what activities they take part in, and that is such critical information for us to be able to share with our partners and be able to create strategies where we had to bring it back home to let's put some couples in the ads because maybe we're missing something here for the moment. So, getting back to basics and understanding the data helps us tremendously.
Yeah. And everything these days is data driven. It's so important. We have one caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. O.C. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
All right, this is Jamo.
Jamo. Yes.
Morning, Jamo.
Morning.
I was just thinking about how we could grow our tourism market connected to our cultural product, like say the ag show.
Okay.
It's coming up on Ash Wednesday, and there might be I think there's 5 ships scheduled to be in harbor.
Okay.
If it's any way that tourism is looking at trying to grow a market around our special cultural event other than Pirate Street.
Thank you for the question, Jamo. I would say that we have focused on the agriculture show primarily for stayover visitors. In previous years, we offered a shuttle service for visitors, and we picked up from various corridors of 7 Mile Beach and the eastern districts and offered that for free so that they could get towing from the show and be able to enjoy that. That's something that, we've partnered with, I believe it was the Ministry of Planning at the time that had agriculture. And that's something that we're more than willing to do. With the number of cruise ships that are in that day, I think it's just for us to talk with the Port Authority so that we can get some deployment of tours to the agriculture show on Ash Wednesday. And I think that would be a great opportunity to be able to showcase what we do there for culture, the arts, the produce, everything.
Okay. Yeah, they get to see all of the people from all the different districts at one spot.
Yeah. Yes. Great suggestion, and thank you, Jamo.
All right, Jamo, thanks a lot for that too. Excellent idea. The people talk about the jurisdiction and the high costs associated with the jurisdiction. And that's not only for tourists, but also for our locals. But there are tourist destinations. If you decide that you want to go on vacation in Monaco or somewhere in Switzerland, it's going to cost you. You're going to pay for it. What do we say to our critics about Cayman being such an expensive jurisdiction? But yet we're still able to attract people? Why is that?
We're still able to attract people because we've had a disruptor in the market. And that disruptor, most persons know of Airbnb. But the home share market, there's a number of platforms now that have grown our tourism accommodations. For the airlines, I think they battle it out themselves in terms of affordable air access. So I would say the barrier at times or traditionally has been seen as to where to stay and where to stay within your, let's say, budget range. And that has totally been shattered by the home share market. We have seen our traditional outlook on household income now skew because of the home share market. There are persons from all walks of life, all different pocketbook depths coming to Cayman all throughout the year. Our main focus now is not so much the affordability or the fact that we have a high season. It is to bring up the valleys. So the fall off in, I would say, June or July through the end of November, you can almost take that into the second week of December. That's where our focus is, to be able to support those months better so that the restaurants won't have to close and go on holiday for a month. Or maybe they do like to go on holiday for a month. But, we see it more and more that because of the volume tapering, that's when private sector either closes for renovations. We have a few properties that close for renovations in the sister islands, and they just take the time out to refresh and come back for season. But as we get more entrepreneurs and more businesses in the tourism industry, the responsibility for a full stream of activity, and it might not have to be the level that we get in March or December or July. Those are the peak months, but it has to be better than we're doing now, because there is a fall off, and given how some of the transport operators operate, they see a significant decline, and you hear about it from the smaller properties. Oh, we're not seeing the volume that you're reporting on in this period, which means that maybe the larger properties do better because they have more marketing dollars to weather that time of year versus smaller properties. So we're wanting everyone to do well, and we're wanting to be able to bring more tourism value in the areas that need it most. And our visitor profile is changing, and it's changing because of generational changes. Millennials are now parents. They're now older, they're traveling, they want more adventure. You talked about activities. It's not the traditional, oh, I'll just lie on the beach and relax and that's my holiday. No, they want activities, they want to be engaged, they want to learn, and going back to Jamo's question, they want to understand the culture of where they're visiting. So there is a lot in our National Tourism Plan that will help us, I would say, shape the offering of the destination in the years to come.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, can we talk a little bit about sustainable development and tourism, sustainable tourism in the Cayman Islands? Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Great.
2020 means perfect vision. And if you have your sights set on driving a new hybrid, then the time is now to check out the new RAV4 and CHR. Hold up. Just two of the many hybrid models that Vamped is bringing to Cayman. Whether you're looking for a smoother and quieter way of driving, or want a car that maximizes fuel efficiency while minimizing emissions, there are lots of ways a new hybrid from Vamped can make the difference in your life. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries without being plugged in. So focus your 2020 vision on a new hybrid from Vamped Motors, and we will see you through. Come to Vamped, home of the hybrid, located on Walkers Road.
Rotary Club Central, in association with the Cayman Islands Health Services Authority, HSA, present Health Check 2020. Free health check, free mini medical consultation, diabetes, hypertension, and much, much more. Saturday, March 7, 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. Nurses, doctors, Rotarians in service to you. The Rotary Health Check 2020 at A.L. Thompson's, Foster's Airport and Countryside, Foster's Republics, and Kamana Bay. Costs you less. And Hurley's Supermarket. You may save your life. Rotary Central Health Check 2020. Your life, your health. Rotary, connecting the world.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, we have Miss Rosa Harris, who's the Director of the Department of Tourism here in the Cayman Islands, and Miss Anik Jackman. I asked a question earlier, but maybe because I think that's going to fall in part with the National Tourism Plan. So why don't we talk about the National Tourism Plan, and then we can focus on sustainable tourism within that.
Absolutely. We're very, very happy that the National Tourism Plan was tabled in the LA at the end of January. The National Tourism Plan can be found on our website, ourcayman.ky. And if you click on Tourism Business, you'll find a link there for National Tourism Plan, which is available for download. But when we looked at redoing what used to be the National Tourism Management Plan, it was a reflection of where the tourism partners thought we were. In 2013, they felt that we needed to go back to the drawing board, that we needed to focus on things that we could actually execute. The plan that we had previously was very heavy, multifaceted, and really depended on the equal efforts of many different areas of government or private sector. We've been able to look at 6 top objectives for the National Tourism Plan and focus on how we will make an impact over the next 5 years. Obviously, this is just a 5-year plan. Our management team at DOT have been looking into a longer vision and what that might look like in terms of the experiences, the product, etc., and how we continue to have a quality product offering. So just to go through what the main tenets of the National Tourism Plan are, and I should probably start with the mission statement because that mission statement encapsulates a lot. The Cayman Islands would protect our environment, celebrate our cultural heritage while supporting a vibrant tourism economy that benefits the people of the Cayman Islands. It's very clear that we want to be able to manage in a sustainable way. We want to celebrate that the environment that we're in. We live on islands, so there's resources that there's only so much resources that we have. And why do we do all of this? We do all of this for the people of the Cayman Islands. So when we looked at the mission statement and what the guiding vision would be for the National Tourism Plan, we felt that encapsulated what our focus and how we work with our partners over the next 5 years. So one of your questions was sustainable tourism, and some of the actions that we've been working on recently is a beach cleanup effort, being able to ensure that the beaches are looked after, and we have a partnership that we'll be announcing very soon in relation to that. And we're also looking at finding a replacement for what we had previously was a Green Globe certification program. The Green Globe program was in place for about 5 years, but a lot of the actions within the plan were a little bit unattainable for most properties, and we believe that finding something that is conscious about the environment that we operate in, but also is attainable, we needed to relook at what our environmental certification program might be, and that too is under consideration. I was able to attend a sustainable tourism conference last December, and I spoke about how we manage through hurricane season and in crisis, and obviously that all rolls up into climate change and all of these things. So there's the topic of sustainable tourism is wide-ranging, but what it really means is, where do you live? What resources do you have? And how can you celebrate that in as many ways as possible, while still bringing about economic and social benefit to those that live in that environment. And I know that I'm very general in speaking about it because we've been working on a number of programs, yes, but now that the plan is official, we're now able to confirm some of the discussions and plans that we've been wanting to elect for in the last year. So this is a huge milestone for the tourism industry.
And to that point too, our guests are also, when we look at the makeup of our guests who are coming, they're also very conscious of the environment. They're very travel savvy. They're very careful about their environment and the sustainability of where they're traveling. So now we're even having visitors who want to get involved in the community. So they'll reach out to us and say, how can I help? What can I do to kind of lessen my footprint? And so that's why we are also happy about programming like the coral planting that's happening in some of in the islands. All 3 islands, I think now, have some form of a coral planting program. You know, we have companies that want to do beach cleanups, etc. So we also recognize that that's our guests too are committed to that because they see the importance of the sustainability, especially if you're a repeat visitor, the sustainability of it all.
Now, how do we get developers, major developers in the Cayman Islands, those who are putting up the 10-story condominiums, either for tourists or for local rental as well. How do we get them connected into this whole idea of sustainability?
Obviously, with development, when you own real estate in the Cayman Islands, it's a free enterprise here. You can develop it because you own it. And I think it's the how. So is the building sustainable? Do you have energy conservation features within that? Did you think about how you could lessen your footprint on the resources in the Cayman Islands? How you could recycle? And there's some building blocks across government that support tourism, be that waste management, recycling. Obviously, there's a lot of energy policy that's already in place. But there are some cornerstone support mechanisms that as a country we do need to mature into to be able to guide the development in general. So if we're able to implement these cornerstone kind of big rock support mechanisms, then the development would have to be conscious of those mechanisms. What I would encourage persons to think about is, yes, we have large-scale hotels on 7 Mile Beach, and 7 Mile Beach is almost at 100% capacity. There's very little now that you would be able to develop on the coastline. So when we say think beyond 7 Mile Beach, we also want you to be conscious about the communities that you're developing in. So when you think about the Sister Islands and Boddentown, East End, Northside, it's not going to be the same approach for those districts because they're also very different as well. So having worked in Cayman Kai for a number of years when I was with Hyatt, Boddentown is a drive-through community, very much focused on the coastline. Anything that's developed there has to be able to celebrate how sensitive it is to the coastline. Everyone's very close to the water. East End, you have a little bit more real estate and depth. And then North Side is, I would say, a little bit similar to Boddentown, but they also have more mainland that's available rather than coastline because that road kind of chops up the beach and the mainland. So any development has to celebrate the community that they're in. And we're not saying that we're against large-scale development, but there's a way to do development that is conscious about the community, the way of life, the traffic, and also how you develop it. So I would say that the Eco Lodge that was approved for Northside had more cottages versus high-rise buildings. I would say that would be a great example of celebrating the area in which that is proposed for in Northside. I cannot remember the development. I just remember that it's by NCB. It's a joint venture with another developer. But from what I saw from the plans, it was just over 100 cottages, and it was spread out in a way that you didn't have a 10-story building.
Was that off Queens Highway somewhere?
I believe so. Yeah, it's been some time that they've been approved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about beach a little bit more. This may be a little bit off topic, but beach access. So many tourists come to the island. They may or may not be staying at one of the larger hotels, but we have so many little secluded beaches on the eastern end of the island. Now we're seeing more beach access signs on Queens Highway alone. There must be about 5 or 6 of them right on Queens Highway. Very convenient, not only for tourists, but more importantly for locals, because the local activists have been behind all of this. How does that tie into our tourism product? How does that assist?
I believe that there are visitors and residents that would like an experience on 7 Mile Beach and don't mind the experience on 7 Mile Beach, but there are also other persons that just like peace and quiet. I meet so many visitors that said, you know, we stayed on 7 Mile Beach our first visit, and then we discovered this property in East End, and we prefer to stay at this property in the Eastern Districts. And as visitors come back, they find what they like to do best. This is an area for us to be Cayman kind. You know, we know that public access to beaches is a right that everyone enjoys, and it's an effort with property owners who are on the beach, being able to tolerate those that want to enjoy the beach experience, as long as we're all being very respectful while we're enjoying the beach. And I do believe it's a growth point for us. Beach access is, I would say, platinum. And everybody, Cayman is a very hardworking society, and residents want to enjoy the beach and relax. I was on 7 Mile Beach on Saturday with my goddaughter, and it was great. But what it also showed me, being on 7 Mile Beach, is that it was very busy. So as you rightly say, some of our residents not wanting a crowded beach or a very active beach, and our visitors also looking for some tranquility, we do have to be Cayman kind and know that the beach is available to everyone. As long as we're respectful and not too loud, we should allow persons to enjoy what we love so much about Cayman is the high quality of our beach experience.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break again. When we return, I want to hear a little bit more from Miss Anique, and we want to talk about more about promotions in the Cayman Islands, some of the things that we do to ensure that we keep the destination on top of the mind, and also to help us drive visitation and traditional slow periods. Talk a little bit more about that as well. So folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Rotary Club Central, in association with the Cayman Islands Health Services Authority, HSA, present Health Check 2020. Free health check, free mini medical consultation, diabetes, hypertension, and much, much more. Saturday, March 7, 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. Nurses, doctors, Rotarians in service to you. The Rotary Health Check 2020 at A.L. Thompson's, Foster's Airport and Countryside, Foster's Republics, and Camana Bay. Costs you less. And Hurley's Supermarket. You may save your life. Rotary Central Health Check 2020. Your life, your health. Rotary, connecting the world.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note. You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Miss Rosa Harris and Miss Anique Jackman. We're going to talk about promotions for Cayman Islands tourism as well. Miss Jackman.
So earlier we were talking about value in terms of what we offer to our guests, and and also talking about the fact that during specific time periods we'd love to increase the number for visitation, and we've been doing well for summer. I think last year for example, we had a fantastic summer, and of course we trying to translate that into September, October in particular. But there's specific programs and promotions that we run through the Department of Tourism. There's our annual Summer Only in Cayman promotion, and that's where we work with stakeholders across the board. It's not just accommodation partners. We encourage restaurants, attractions, even stores to sign up and be a part of the program. And of course, the benefits is that, they'll be supported through the promotional and marketing efforts for us regional across all of the regions for summer. And then we do the same thing for what we call the fall period. And the good thing about particularly October and November is that there are a lot of on-island activities. So there are things that we can speak about, whether it's Culinary Month, Cocktail Week, Pirates Week, leading right into the marathon. Mm-hmm. So for us, those are great talking points to get out and promote about the destination. Again, if we talk about beyond the beach, then it's being able to showcase that we have these fantastic sporting events, whether it's the Sea Swim in June or the marathon, it's our national festivals, trying to get people to participate. And that's also where you get to interact with locals as well. One of the other programs that we're running is called the Weekender. And we tested that a few years ago, and it's for people who want to do the short getaway trips. Mm-hmm. And we focused on specific events to say, build a story around that, showcase the destination in a different way, tell that story, and then encourage that short-term travel. That was an extremely successful program. We ran it for, I believe, Pirates Week. We ran it for Cayman Cookout. We ran it for Carnival. And we were really, really pleased to see how people interacted and booked over that time period. And they were booking from the Ritz-Carlton right through because the program gave them the flexibility of where they wanted to stay. So we are looking at running that again for 2020. And all of these are promotions that we reach out to all of our stakeholders and invite them to participate in. This year, we are also really happy from the perspective of Dive to be able to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the International Scuba Diving Hall of Fame. 20 years, can you believe it? And we're expanding the program a little bit to be able to offer business development and training and seminars for dive partners when that happens in September. And we are even more excited because we've been talking about this in terms of a permanent home for the International Scuba Diving Hall of Fame Museum. And we're happy that it will be hosted at Pedro St. James. And so the museum was a great partner previously. We were able to do an exhibit with them that went extremely well. But now we're with Pedro St. James, we're looking at something that's permanent, to have people the option of being able to visit that. And then the last thing I'll mention this one is not necessarily for consumers per se, but we do talk a lot with our trade partners, our travel agents, our wholesalers. So we're having our annual tourism, our tourism conference this year in October, which is more business to business. Mm-hmm. But in that, we will have our session that's open to the general public. Yes. So we are inviting everyone to look out for those dates. I believe it's going to be the 5th of October, but that's when you can come in and hear all of the things that are happening in our industry. The minister will usually share, Rosa will share what we are doing across all of our regional offices, but then that's an opportunity for us to talk about what's happening next in tourism, just generally, where we would like to see the destination grow, develop, and hopefully we will have a fantastic guest speaker that we will be announcing hopefully soon.
Okay. Our last conference, we had an excellent speaker.
We did. We had Marla Ducaran, who is an economist based in Trinidad.
Oh, yes.
And that was very, very, very well received. And of course, she spoke very highly about what we're doing here in the Cayman Islands. And that was fantastic when we look at all the programming and the strength of our economy. So, that conference is really, really a great opportunity for the public to come out and hear and see what the Department of Tourism is doing to support the business.
Okay, one of our listeners has written in and said, could you please tell Ms. Harris that the new DOT TV ad is one of the most beautiful I've seen. It certainly stands out. Tell us about it, those who haven't seen it. and before you explain that one, I just want to say that there was an ad that some saw as unfavorable to the Cayman Islands, and of course it ran during football, it ran during Super Bowl, and because it potentially could do reputational damage to the Cayman Islands, we got in contact, or officials here got in contact with the ad people, and they changed it. But I personally saw that as an ad that we could take it and turn it around and benefit the Cayman Islands, even though it made it look like, well, if you want to disappear, Cayman Islands is a place to go, and where nefarious things are done. But I thought it was something that could be turned around and used, in a positive way in our favor.
Obviously, that's brand awareness. Brand awareness that we no longer want a negative connotation with our name, and I think that was a great achievement getting the AT&T ad changed. But the Dream in Cayman campaign is started out as a United States focused market creative effort, and we have slowly branch that out into our other offices. So Canada will debut a Dream in Cayman campaign, and our UK Europe office will also embrace the campaign. We believe that it celebrates Cayman in such a unique way. We're actually doing a destination shoot later on this year to be able to add more imagery to it. So we realize that the imagery that we use now isn't your typical sun, sand, and sea. We're wanting to focus a lot more on the flora and fauna and the sunshine. So we're adding a lot more imagery there. So thank you to the person that wrote to you and celebrated that ad with us. We will aim to please and do a lot more. Certainly when we work on things, it's hard to kind of, raise the bar. This campaign, I believe, has a lifespan that we'll see quite a few years out of it, at least another 24 months until we say, okay, what's next? So please stay tuned to more wonderful creative work that celebrates Cayman.
Okay, now before you two ladies leave us, two things that I'd like you to briefly touch upon. Cayman Airways and the importance of Cayman Airways for a tourism product. We know that there are jurisdictions who have actually paid subsidies to airlines to get them to fly in to particular jurisdictions. We don't have that problem, fortunately, here in the Cayman Islands. And the other one has to do with traffic, because I know, Ms. Harris, that you're involved in
I was
transportation issues as well.
I was going to get out of that one, or what was going to happen. Okay. So Cayman Airways absolutely is a strategic tool for us, being able to open new markets and bring persons from new areas of our source markets. And right now it's mainly the United States. But I believe that the New York and Denver service that are sanctioned as tourism routes are extremely important for us. I would say that in terms of Cayman Airways, obviously everyone is feeling the situation with the Air Max grounding. It's not just unique to Cayman Airways, it's global. And it's also the reason why maybe travel is a little bit more crowded lately because of aircraft availability. But I truly believe that we are the envy of the region, the Caribbean region. There are not many national carriers throughout the Caribbean. I believe there's Liat, and then there's Bahama Air, and Caribbean, which is more general. But Cayman Airways has been in this game for over 50 years, supporting our country when we need it most in crisis, hurricane season, and we're able to transport persons. You just can't put a price point on that.
That's right.
We need a national airline, and they're crucial to our strategy as well. The price competitiveness, if we didn't have a national airline that served Miami, Tampa, New York, Denver, we would just see a lot higher pricing coming out of markets. So whilst other carriers like Cayman, they want to serve us, they see the profitability in it, Cayman Airways is that kind of qualifier that, hey, we're going to keep the price point fair here so that Cayman Islands can remain very competitive. So it's an essential tool for tourism. Switching gears now to public transport.
Yes.
How did you want to tackle that question exactly?
Okay, I'm told we have to take a break first. Let's take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes. Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman will be holding a prostate and colon cancer awareness meeting at the John Gray Memorial United Church Hall in West Bay on Tuesday, February 18 at 7:30 p.m. Free PSA testing will be available along with a presentation by guest speaker Dr. Shillingford. PSA testing will be done by Royal Medical and Wellness Center. For more information on prostate and colon cancer awareness, join the Lions Club of Grand Cayman on Tuesday, February 18 at 7:30 p.m. at the John Gray Memorial United Church Hall in West Bay.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
One
of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news.
Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're talking tourism here in the Cayman Islands. That conversation is taking place with the Director of Tourism, Ms. Rosa Harris, and Ms. Anik Jackman. We're on the last leg of the show this morning, so if you have any questions, comments, or observations, this is the time for you to call in because we only have about less than 15 minutes left on the show. Back to you, Ms. Harris. I think I interrupted you to go to commercial.
Well, you wanted to talk about public transport and the congestion, I believe, that we're all experiencing on the road and how public transport can be an opportunity to feed into the solution. The Public Transport Board has been discussing, how do we revamp our omnibus service. There's a lot of residents and visitors now that ride on the omnibus service. And I think that's the critical one because tour buses take persons to attractions or excursions, and then taxis take persons either to and from the airport or to restaurants and other activities. So if I was to focus on the one category under public transport that could form a part of the solution in terms of persons traveling to and from work, it's the omnibus service. And we have done our best to expand the omnibus service in the eastern districts. You'll see some larger buses, some 22-seater buses that are on the eastern routes versus the traditional 15-seater bus that you might see on West Bay Road or Eastern Avenue. And we would like to look at an environmentally friendly option. So the type of gas it uses and how it's motored, as well as wheelchair capability access that's not backloaded. Someone can easily wheel on and wheel off, and this type of vehicle would have some sort of hydraulic system to bring it down to ground level and have a ramp so the person can be wheeled onto the bus, expanding the capacity, the number of persons riding on the bus, and the type of environment that the bus offers, meaning if you're all dressed up for work or you have the interview of your life and you get on the bus, how you got on the bus is how you get off the bus, and you feel comfortable taking that service. And technology is a part of the solution as well. So right now, it's very ad hoc how buses arrive, even though they call into the bus depot a minimum of 6 times a day. Sometimes buses can get very clustered on the road and they're all arriving at the same time. We're hoping to look at technology where, the public can see, okay, a bus will be here in 5 minutes, and I don't have to be to my bus stop for another 5 minutes, and when it arrives is the GPS is telling me that it's arriving at that time. So our board is having many discussions on how solutions can come about in evolving the type or the specification of the bus, the capability that's more inclusive of seniors or those that are wheelchair bound, and then also improving the environment. So if you're all dressed up and you're going to that interview of your life, you're going to look absolutely fabulous getting off the bus in the same way. And I believe that if we have a bus service that's very reliable, that it's tangible, that I know when it's arriving, then the alternative to persons having a private car and having to buy a private car is then reduced, particularly for those that are here temporarily or, here on a work permit. And I say that because that is a projection that it has been coined to. The number of work permits that are projected to grow in this year versus the potential number of cars that pool of persons may buy, thereby putting more cars on the road. So I don't want it to seem that I'm singling out a certain group, but that has been the discussion on the table, that this is how our population will grow over the next 12 months. This is the potential impact. And this is how the Public Transport Board has been viewing how we can evolve very quickly, improving and upgrading the bus service. There are some considerations, but I don't think it limits what we can do now in terms of having a pull-off point in our roadway. We've made suggestions to the Ministry of Planning in their master planning that we need lay-by so that buses can pull off the road safely, so persons can embark and debark. So these discussions have been happening for the last year. I think action needs to be taken. For us, we're wanting to talk with a financial institution that will make this opportunity available in terms of buying the buses for Caymanians and being able to place them in the pool. So that is something that we would like to see out as an opportunity very quickly, and be able to onboard some of those buses this year.
Oh, that sounds great. That sounds excellent. Ms. Jacqueline?
Well, I agree with that too, because for those of us who travel to other places and you take the public transportation, it's easy, it's convenient, and there's allowances for you if you're on those buses, etc. And I think that makes sense. And also our guests, they don't mind a bus experience. That's another way that you get to see where you are.
And interact with the
exactly, you're interacting
people,
with local people. There are lots of storytellers that are your buses. But you also see the environment. You get a better sense of place. And I also think, one of the things that we do mention is for our visitors as well, the water ferry option between West Bay and going up to Rum Point and Kaibo. which is, again, a fantastic experience for a visitor. Easy, quick, helps you to, avoid any kind of traffic or transportation situation. So it's being able to talk about those things as well, because our visitors will ask and they're looking for that.
And when you talk about smart travel, they would have researched it already.
Yeah,
They know that there's a bus service. They know that it's between $2 and $4. They know kind of how to do it.
Yes.
And particularly those from areas that have mass transit as a way of life, they're going to research it. So it's on us to be able to enhance it, improve it, and make it something that everybody will want to take part in and see it as an alternative to private car.
Okay, final question very quickly before I give you an opportunity for some closing comments. For those critics who say that tourists are not getting enough exposure to Caymanians, especially at those contact points in hotels and restaurants. How do we address that?
Well, certainly we have our School of Hospitality Studies where we've had a cohort between 30 and 40 students a year. But tourism careers have become a lot more attractive in recent years. And I think that's because we've had persons go through it and be able to showcase what a great career it can be. But we also have to continue to embrace that tourism is growing, tourism is here to stay, and it is a viable opportunity for a career. And it may not be 9 to 5. You may miss the turkey at Christmas, but it is very rewarding. And it's not just the traditional occupations either. Tourism needs lawyers. We need accountants. We need professionals that support the business. So it's not just at the front desk or as a bartender. There are also special events, coordinators, salespersons. So if we think beyond what the traditional view of tourism is, know that it's so much more and it's much deeper.
Okay, and those tourism ambassadors at the airport, excellent service that is provided there. I think the one thing that I would say that they need to, while they're visible and everything else, I think they need to approach passengers more and let them know, hey, I'm your tourism ambassador. If you need any assistance, any questions, I'm here to help you as well. But great idea.
This is great feedback, and I think having that beautiful floral shirt and someone in the straw hat, it just really personalizes the arrival and the greeting. So absolutely, I agree.
Even the departure, because I've seen a few in the departure lounge, kind of directing people, which gate are you going to, this. So I think that they're also a fantastic, as you're leaving, kind of the goodbye to the destination.
And it's essential in busy periods. So when you're trying to get through security or trying to find out where check-in is or where your gate is, it's important to have someone help you along the way.
Okay, closing comments. We'll start with you, Ms. Jackman.
Well, I just wanted to say, for those listening, particularly in the industry, feel free to reach out to the Department of Tourism. Our team is available and ready to assist wherever needed, whether it's promotions, questions on how to get on our website and get involved in our programs, to queries on research. There are emails that they can just contact, and it'll get to various members of our teams, so we can get support our partners. And then to the public, of course, listen out, look out for when our conference is happening in October. Again, that's a great opportunity to hear and see what the department is doing, and also to share your views.
Okay, Ms. Harris?
It's a wonderful time to be in tourism. If you've thought about having a tourism business or getting a job in tourism, please feel free to reach out to Department of Tourism. We're happy to talk with you, and you can always pass by your ideas with us. Our National Tourism Plan is available for download on our cayman.ky website, and it's fantastic to be able to share the gains, but also some of the areas of improvement to be able to support the quality of life that we enjoy in Cayman. So I'm happy to be a part of the solutions that continue to thrive for the Cayman Islands people.
Excellent. I know you have to rush off to another meeting, so again, I want to thank you. Wish you all the best. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling, Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates.